You're live. Perfect. Everyone, hi, good evening. Bruce Muffs and LCSW from SUNRIDGE of Nevada. I want to thank everybody. Last week, blew everything up. I knew, well, I don't want to say depression is popular, but I just know how devastating and how insidious and how it affects so many people, depression. So just talking about it last week and everyone's comments was just literally incredible. So much poured in. There were comments after. And I think it really hit home for a lot of people, begin to understand what depression is and what it isn't. I had people watch it afterwards who said, hey, wow, you blew me up. I couldn't believe this. I finally understand what depression is from a real clinician. You broke it down. You made it understandable. You made it watchable. You made it, I got it. I finally understand what I'm dealing with, or what my loved one is dealing with, what my best friend is dealing with. It's not like something that's so scary anymore. I understand the symptoms. Perfect. Because of that, we said, let's go with part two, because so many questions came into the kiosk that I only got maybe a third, if even that much, of the material I wanted to present. So we're going to do that tonight and just kind of go from there. Before we begin, though, I want to talk again a little bit about myself and talk about the evolution of our channel and where we're going. We talked about last week about my experience and my background, and it's basically unparalleled of my depth of experience from working inpatient, outpatient, courtroom settings, working with all kinds of individuals, all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of settings. Tonight, though, I want to talk about why are we worth it? Why are we going to be having you guys basically start paying for these live streams? We're only going to do a couple more of these like this, basically throwing it out there. But why are we worth it? It's a good question. Okay, and it's funny I'm even saying it because I remember with my producer / agent, we went to a house one time and we had a parent actually say that to me. Essentially that question, why are you worth it? Why? What makes you different than the last 5 that have failed working with my individual, my own child? And I simply said, I'm the best out there. There's no one better than me. When it comes to trauma, when it comes to grief, I am the man. And you should be grateful that I walked into your door. And, I'll never forget this comment because my agent / producer was there and he was taking the notes to do the treatment plan, and he said his mouth fell open. He thought we were going to have to fight our way out, and he couldn't believe I said that. And what the person said was, great, thank you. Someone with confidence, someone saying I can actually fix this person, I can actually give it my best shot, was impressive. It changed everything. And that's what I bring when I do these live streams, when I do the video breakdowns. That's what I bring to the table. That's why I'm worth it. Okay, here we go. Got another question shooting up right here. Man, Thomas Gaines, you're always there every single week. I will get to you in a second. And give me 1 second, Thomas. I apologize. Okay, so we have created a new way. We have created a new way of delivering services through these live streams. Why? It's informative. It's relatable. It's down to earth, and it's filled with useful information and knowledge to help you thrive and to grow. There are several companies in the last 5 to 7 years that have changed how they distribute manufactured goods. Let me go real quickly through them. Warby Parker with glasses, Casper with mattresses, Harry Shave Club with obviously razors. All of them did something completely different. They went straight to the consumer and they cut out the middleman because people were paying insane prices for all 3 items. And they said, why? Cut out the middleman. Cut out the middleman, go straight to the consumer. And they did. All became phenomenally successful. And we want to do the same thing for mental health and cut out the middleman, which is the insurance. Here's the issue. You, meaning the consumer, have had to deal with basically the same system for the past 50 years. Okay, here's what you're dealing with. Insurance. You pick a provider. And it could be any kind of insurance from Medicaid to private. It's all essentially the same thing, though. You pick a provider, you go to the office, and now, you do this. You're hoping to God that it works out. Okay. Now, of course, we're using computers too, but it's the same concept. You're hoping you're able to relate to the person on the other end. Here's what happens to the vast majority of people who go to therapy. You get frustrated. The therapist blows. Okay. Does not understand me, and at times they suck. They're terrible. Okay, we want to change all of that. Okay, we want to cut out the middleman. That's it. and deal with you directly. Okay. You see me, you know me. Okay. You feel comfortable with me. I am the best. And most important, you can trust me. And how do we know this? From the hundreds and not thousands of comments that have come in where people have shared some very, very personal, intimate details of their life, which I give you total credit for and a lot of guts for doing so. But you don't do that if you don't feel comfortable with the person on the other end of the line. That's what I am. Why will this work? It's very simple. No more overpriced $100, $150, $200 therapists. We're paying out copays. We're hoping that the person will finally get me. You don't have to work that anymore. No more BS, no more nonsense, okay? Regulations from insurance, being told no. I've heard that a million times. Sorry, Bruce, we don't feel it justifies any more services. Your client has had enough. We decided. Who's we? We. If you don't like it, fly a kite, basically. No more, okay? They've had enough. They've had enough. We decide they've had enough. Okay, these live streams are finally going to be at an affordable price that you can access, guess what, over and over and over again. It never made sense to me as a therapist that you leave a session like on a high, like an emotion. Man, the guy really got me. He really said some really good things. What did he say? What did he talk about? I totally forgot. I ended up doing all this writing. When I would leave people leave a session, I'd have to write everything down and say, take this with you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. No more with the paper. We want to save some trees. Okay, now it's going to be online. You can go back and review, go fast, go forward, and pick up what you liked and internalize it for yourself. Okay, finally, I can deliver the stellar service I've been doing all my life, but not just one-on-one anymore. Now I can do it globally. That is why I'm worth it, and that is why it's worth it to you to pay the price to get the services that you need to go forward. Okay, and I no more what I can't do, it's what I can do with my patients. Okay, not that we want you to see the difference, because we know you see the difference. We know you see a difference in what you've had before and what you have with me. And realize there is no one out there like me when it comes to therapy. Bang, 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 bang. Doing 12 rounds with Floyd Muffson. That's how I look at it. You're not going to get anyone better than me, pound for pound. Well, pound for pound, pretty heavy, but round for round. Okay. Understand this. There's a difference between them and us. Huge difference. Light years away difference. No comparison difference. Like LeBron James to a kid, bouncing a basketball for the first time. That's a confidence I have in myself. That's a confidence I want to give you people. If I feel good about myself, you will feel good about yourself. Okay? They don't come close to me, never have, and never will. We simply want to cut out the insurance and go straight to you, direct to the consumer. We want to take this worldwide. That's been our plan all along, to go global and monetize our site. We'll keep on making the music videos. That's going to happen. We're not going away from that. I'm always working on the next one. Trust me. I have like 3 sheets of songs of different music artists I can go through, different musicians. That's not a problem. We'll always knock those out. But we're going to the live stream system. We're going to monetize it. And we want you to come join us and get the help and see the value in it. We want to teach, educate on a clinical level that has never been done before. And that will be direct to the consumer, which is you. Okay, so I see we got a question ready in the queue. I'm just going to look this over. Hey, Bruce, I was feeling down depressed this past week a lot, and your last stream I just watched a few minutes ago, and it made me feel better. It's a cool coincidence you're doing another today. Hey, my man, thank you. That's why we're doing it, because we felt it really helped a lot of people. So I'm glad you watched it. I'm glad it gave you something to work with, and that's why we're doing part 2 today. So you guys know the routine by now. Start logging in, because the board is empty. So you got any questions, throw them in. I'm here to listen. Here we go. Okay. I want to just throw down a couple of things about depression. I like that woman had done last week when I had copied some of those quotes from her. So I wanted to say 2 or 3 of them right now, and then go back to some issues about depression in general. Here we go. When you're depressed, you don't control your thoughts. Your thoughts control you. And the person said, I wish people understood that. It's so true. People think like, oh, like that's like, I get this all the time. Snap out of it, snap out of it, snap out of it. No, the thoughts are so powerful. They're so pervasive. That's how you think. You think that that's normal. Like depression becomes a sense of normalcy, and like you're wearing a raincoat, but like you're wearing a raincoat that makes you feel icky, makes you feel slimy, makes you feel dirty, makes you feel greasy. Doesn't protect you from the inclement weather. And that's what depression does. Your thoughts begin to control you, and you think that being depressed is normal. Don't get out of bed, isolate, overeat, undereat, use alcohol and drugs. So common. All right, number 3. I got a question coming. I'll get 1 second. Depression is feeling like you lost something, but having no clue when or where you last had it. Then one day what you realize what you lost is yourself. You lose your personality. You lose who you are and what you want to be. Okay. Number 4, my lips say fine, thanks, but my eyes tell a different story. My heart sings a different tune, and my soul just weeps. You feel like there's nothing left of you. I like what the person said. My lips, oh, everything is great. Everything is great. I'm doing just great. Everything is great. It's great. It's great. Couldn't be better. Thank God. Everything is great. Oh, doing perfect. Oh, couldn't do better. Your eyes give you away. I could see the pain in somebody's eyes. Your heart is broken, sings a different tune, and your soul, your personality is distraught. It's devastated. That's what depression is. Okay, got a question here. Here we go. Weird question, but does temperature affect depression? Is really hot today? Yes, 100%. Statistically, we know that when it gets hot, like it is today in Vegas, it's like about 3,000 degrees already. We know that murders rise, domestic violence rises, murders, domestic violence, assaults. Hot temperature makes you really, really depressed and edgy. So I always tell people like this: if they like today, cool off. It's shown statistically to work. Taking a cold shower, cold drink, sitting inside with the AC on, not going outside, not going to situations that's going to get you, pumped up, because the heat always leads to a rise in crime rates. So a very good question. CS, man. Hey, baby, I love you. Everything you just said is 100% true. I never felt so connected over social media in person. You have a very strong way of getting through to someone. I'm sure you saved many lives. Man, I got to thank this guy. This guy's incredible. He's a huge fan, a huge supporter. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. He's going to get me to do a live stream. I'll throw it out there already. Basically talking about myself and how I got to be this personality. He thought that was actually interesting for him. And you know what? It's going to happen. Thank you, CS. You gave me some great ideas on the email that you sent me, and I'm going to follow up with that. But yes, 100% true. Now, I saved many lives. I'll always say this: I'm a legend in my own mind. I always give credit to the person I'm working with. So I'll always say, even if they'll say to me, you saved my, and I've had that said to me, I'm not going to lie, but you saved my life, you changed my life's better for you, my family's life is better because of what you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's all nice. But what I'll always say is, I might have pushed you in the right direction, but you did all the heavy lifting. Because I want them to have that kind of confidence in themselves. There's an old expression: you could give a poor man fish, but you can make a poor man wealthy if you teach him how to fish. And I always like to teach people the skills to be successful. That's my biggest enjoyment, truthfully. So when you're in a tight spot, you are able to grow. I guess if I would have had another alternative, I would have liked to have been like a teacher, an educator. I like teaching. I like seeing people grow, and to see people think of things and do things differently because of what I said to them is empowering to me. But I rarely take the credit, to be honest. I always say I might have pushed you in the right direction. You did the heavy lifting. Okay, perfect. So here we go. So I wanted to say a couple of things about depression and kind of break it up. Anyone have any questions? Pound them out, because we are here to listen and here to answer. Here we go. Okay. Self-esteem is often absent. People with depression may feel like they are worthless or a failure at everything. They may dwell on the negative events and experiences, be unable to see positive qualities to themselves. Ding, 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 ding. Bingo. Self-esteem is so critical. The older I get, the more I understand that. That's why I'm so big with compliments. I'm constantly telling people, hey, great job, man. Hey, can I write you up? You did a really good job. I'm always being positive. I want to boost people's self-esteem. People with self-esteem have a thing called confidence. Like someone that made me laugh. They said, I love your analogy about guacamole and chips going hand in hand. I also use like peanut butter and jelly. As you can see, I like food. But my thinking is always this. When I give somebody self-confidence that they feel good about themselves, they're going to do more. They're going to achieve more. So self-esteem is huge. And when you're depressed, you don't have any. Duh, makes complete sense to me. Who would? When you feel like a jerk and you feel like a loser, you feel empty inside, you don't have self-esteem. So as much as possible, especially for parents and kids, give your kids as much as you can self-esteem. Spend time with them, listen to them, hear them, and you feel better about yourself. Okay, sleeping may be problematic. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, how many Americans in America, America, a stupid thing to say, but how many Americans do not sleep well at night? Guess what? Me and 40 million other people do not sleep well at night in America. Do not sleep well. Sleeping can be problematic, yeah, because your mind does not know how to do this. Turn itself off, and you're dealing with depression. Falling asleep, staying asleep all night. You maybe wake up early, can't go back to sleep. Others do this. You sleep a lot, but you still wake up like tired. We're unrefreshed despite the extra hours of sleep. You're not going into a deep REM. I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, Friday night used to come, of course it came every Friday night. So I would go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and I would have a huge meal. I'd go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and I would sleep from 8 o'clock at p.m. to 8 a.m. the next morning. I wouldn't even go to the bathroom. 12 solid hours. I woke up like I could tackle a gorilla because my mind was at rest. I was thinking about what I was going to do all weekend, having fun. I wanted to get to bed early to make the weekend as enjoyable as I possibly could. See my friends, play sports, hang out, hopefully meet a girl or two, blah, 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 maybe work a little bit. That's how I thought. Now, 12 hours is a joke. There's no way. 12 hours, 12 minutes. If I'm not going to the bathroom, if I'm not worried about my kids, my wife's making me cuckoo, I'm thinking about bills that I owe. I'm thinking about things I got to get done, the next live stream, the next music video, things at work, notes, dealing with employees. So much goes into the course of a day. I'm tired all day, but I'm not refreshed all day. That's just the reality. So sleep is huge. Oh, question popped in. Okay, what types of medication makes depression worse? That's a great question. That's why I always say this. When you're going to take medication, always talk to your doctor because there are side effects. And certain medications can make you prone to depression. That's why I always say, when you go see your psychiatrist, please don't do this. I see this so often in treatment teams when I'm working with doctors. Okay, I'll take whatever you said. Yeah. What do you mean take whatever? Ask questions. Now's the time to ask a question. Is this addictive? Can this make me have side effects? What are the side effects? There are side effects, everything that you take. There's weight gain. Weight gain leads often to depression. There's problems with sleeping. There's problems with, constipation. There's problems with, mood swings. Depression. You start to get the picture. Don't be a sheep with your own diagnoses. Ask a lot of questions. So I'm just going to go like that way for that last comment. Ask a lot of questions because certain medications are prone to, could make you have mood swings, which could lead to depression. No argument. Good question. Okay. Energy levels are low to non-existent. They can't get out of bed. They feel exhausted even when they do. When I was a kid, high school and college, I literally leaped out of bed. I could have set a long jump record. I was moving so fast. Now I'm like this. I wake up and I'm laying there like I can't move. I'm like, oh God, I wish I could sleep another 15 minutes. Nappy time. I got to get up, take a shower, shave, brush my teeth, put on new clothes, blah, 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 get breakfast, run out the door, get in my car, make it to work on time, blah, 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 blah. I'm not rested. I wake up like this and I do a lot of cat naps, which is bad, not really the best thing for you to do, but I got to play catch up. So I totally get that. Your energy level, like, oh man, and you just don't feel like you have any energy. Some people say this to me. I used to run, I used to bike, I used to be intimate with my wife. I just don't have that energy. It's true. It is so true. So be aware of that stuff. Okay. Any questions? Throw them out. We're here to listen. Okay. Food may not seem appetizing. That seems hard to believe sometimes. The food might not be enjoyable, but you know what it tastes like? It tastes like cold oatmeal without salt or pepper. It just tastes, you just don't like it. There's no taste to it. Food tastes blah. You know, when you have a bad cold and you really can't taste anything, that's what depression is like when it comes to food. The greatest meal in the world, the French fries, whatever it is that you really enjoy, you're like, I'm nauseous, I'm sick, I'm not really even hungry because you don't have any enthusiasm for it. Okay, question popped in. Hey, Bruce, I don't know if you remember me, but I talked about my anxiety hindering my... Yes, playing Valorant. After that talk, I've been playing more without fear, and I've been doing great. All right. Outstanding. Outstanding. My man, let me tell you something. That's a great comment. I'm so happy to hear that. Playing without fear. I would love to work with gamers, quite frankly, because I think so much of that is so clinical that if you have the right mindset, you can conquer anything. Forget about this level, that level. You can win tournaments. You can win games. I am open. So, yes, thank you. That's a great comment. I remember you telling me that. Proud of you. Keep it up. Win some tournaments. And please send us, when you're holding on to that big trophy with that oversized check with that cute girl around your arm. And I want to know what you're doing with that stuff. I find that stuff fascinating. So please tell us more information on how you're doing. Great news. All I do now is to find a team. Okay, never easy. You're a free agent. But if you got the confidence, sell yourself. Sell yourself. They're going to be looking at you. Hey, what do you bring to the what will you bring to the team? What are your great strengths? What are your qualities? Let them know. I bring my A game every time. I'm a team player. I got a great sense of humor. I could I could work with my teammates. If they need a wingman to pick off these guys or pick off those guys, I work as a team. I'm a guy who's willing to put in the extra hours to practice. Let people see that. Let them hear that. Give people confidence in you, and you exude that kind of confidence. You'll find a team. You'll be even more successful. Good luck. We want to hear about your success. So good luck. Okay. Food may use as a comfort or a coping tool. Duh. I always make that comment when you ever see someone who gets in a breakup. If it's a woman, you'll say that old line was, who you dating? I'm dating Ben and Jerry. Eating the ice cream. That was a popular ice cream like about 20 years ago. But comfort, food. Where do you think the overeating comes from? He thought I was unattractive. Well, I'll show him. I'll gain 6 more pounds this weekend. Finish 2 cakes, 3 pies, and a dozen donuts, and wash it down with 2 huge Mountain Dews. Yeah, you give yourself a great weekend of diabetes, and you feel even lousy when you can't fit into your favorite jeans. So food is used as a comfort. Totally understand that. Coping. Okay. Aches and pains may be present. You're always feeling like, that so many people say to me, I feel tight. I feel stress. Move my neck. I got a crick in it. My arms hurt. My legs hurt. I got pains here. That's what depression is going to do to you. People say, well, it's not real. Well, it may not be real to you, but in their brain, they're getting somatic sensations that are making them feel that way. So they are feeling achy. They are feeling like tired. They are feeling stiff. They are feeling hurt. This is a very, very normal way to feel. And those aches, it's amazing how when you feel good about yourself, you don't have any aches and pains. But boy, when you're feeling lousy, everything is magnified. Okay, another question popped in. When I had depression, a lot of doubt whether I even had depression. I thought that my sadness was because of my own failings in physical health. How can you know for sure if you need help? Great question. Go to a doctor. Go to a therapist. A doctor's what we're looking for is this. Is it more than 2 weeks? That's kind of our criteria. You're having depression for more than, because you can have sometimes you get sad over an issue that happens. Like let's say when I used to be a huge sports fan, still am, but When the Jets would lose, I'd be crushed. I mean, crushed. Well, I'm a Jets fan, so I'm crushed a lot. Very depressed a lot. By November, I was crushed. But my point is, when it's your favorite team, I used to get devastated when the Knicks would lose and the Jets and the Mets. Yeah, 90-game seasons. You lose 90. Yeah, you get depressed a lot. But it would go away. Like by the next day, I was like kind of like able to focus. I wasn't wearing my Jets jersey or my Charles Oakley Knick jersey. I got over it. But my point is, but that's only for a couple of hours. Depression that lasts for more than 2 weeks, several weeks, that's a bad sign. That's when you got to go see a doctor. Maybe you might need medication, help you with antidepressant. Not the worst thing in the world. And to see a therapist, and he'll be able to chart out where it's coming from and why is it going on so long. And sometimes there's depression, death of a child, loss of a job, not being picked for a school play, a breakup. These are all factors. You're in a car accident. You're in a violent situation. All these things are doable. Death of a parent. So these things happen. So again, 2 weeks or more, see a doctor. Well, I will always see a therapist first, truthfully, then get a referral to a doctor or see a general practitioner. And that's when they kind of begin to really help you. Okay. Here we go next. Here we go. Now, people, I hear this a lot too, which is completely ignorant. Being depressed is a choice. Well, she wants to be depressed. She enjoys being depressed. She loves it. Okay. Wrong. No. No one likes to be depressed. It's like, when people say these things, they're so dumb to say you want to be depressed. Why would you want to be depressed? Why? Why do you want to stay in your bed all day? Why do you want to not shower, have no friends, not have a job, not have a social life, always blowing up over small things, overeating, undereating, feel like you're a loser, hate yourself? Why? Why would you want to do that? So people say, well, they want to be poor. Okay. No one wants to be poor. Like people say these things, they don't really understand the symptoms. He just wants to be a drug addict. No one says that, in third grade, I want to die of a heroin overdose. I really want to be on meth my whole life and have my face explode in acne and lose my teeth. Not really. Okay, there's a reason for it. Depression is not a choice. It happens, okay? They always do this. Snap out of it. What are you depressed about? You got your whole life ahead of you. Okay, it's a stupid comment. People can be depressed as early as like 5, 6 years old. You have it. Some people suffer from it their whole life. But the thing is, you want to try and figure out where's your depression coming from and how can you alleviate it? Okay, question again popped up. Is it possible to build confidence if someone has no healthy self-esteem? Yes. Okay, you spoke earlier of selling oneself to others. If one is lacking a positive self-view, what might they do? Okay, these are great questions. Okay, be around positive people. Pick who you want to be around. Don't be around people that are negative. I spent so much of my early life being around a negative father who had no ambition. When I talk to let me just say about my agent / producer. He's a great producer, but he's far better as an agent. And one day he won't be my producer. He'll be telling other people how to produce. But I talk to him. It's like meeting of the minds. We're in sync. He's a lot younger than me. He's a lot better looking than me, blah, blah, blah. But I don't feel like when I talk to him, like I'm wasting my time. I hope he feels the same way about me. But like we're aggressive. Like we want to get better at this. We want to monetize. We want to make a living at this. We want to really reach millions more people. He always pushes me. And I appreciate that about him. It's never like, no, Bruce, we can't. Let's wait another 3-4 weeks. It's always do. And he gives me a million suggestions to make me better. How can I ever thank a guy like that enough? So if you don't have it, I didn't have it growing up. I know it sounds crazy now when you look at me like, how could this guy talk that way? But when you're around people that are negative all the time, you get depressed. You think you are a loser. That's what you're exposed to. Be around positive people. Get out of your house. I can't stress that enough. Get out of your house, meet people, and find out who people you'd like to be around. People who are positive tend to attract a lot of people. Why? Because they're positive. It just makes sense. So yeah, you can be born without it, but you can also learn how to develop it. That's how I look at it. Okay. Is depression somewhat normal? Okay, I'm going to read the rest of the question because it seems to come back every now and then, no matter where you are in life, whether it's rock bottom or high above. Good. These are all great questions. We all go through periods of depression. I'm not going to lie. Some people are blessed not really to have it. They go through life unscathed that way. But for the most of us, we're going to have moments where we're going to have self-doubt. You finished third in the marathon. You only got an 87 on the exam. And even though it seems like a great moment, you feel like something is lacking. Or something happened in your relationship. You're still dating. You're still married. Where your kid says something that's hurtful. What I've learned about this is when you want to get away from the highs and the lows and the highs, put things in perspective. What are your real goals? And you learn to let those things that people normally get obsessed about, where when I say obsessed, like it really affects you, it wounds you, it kind of slides off you. You become like Teflon. Yeah, it's no one wants to get cursed at, screamed at, or yelled at, but you learn to put it in perspective. So my answer to that question is depression somewhat normal? Yeah, but there are ways we can work to make it less normal, to put up fences, mental health fences, so we feel better about ourselves going into something, that we don't have to have those feelings of insecurity, self-doubt, lack of confidence, self-esteem, and be proud of who you are and why you like yourself. We'll go back to death grips for 1 second. I mean, we've gotten like, when I made that comment, tell us about your concert experience. Everyone has the same story. I go, I watch, they come on stage, there's no opening act, they play like crazy for close to 90 minutes, they walk off the stage and they're done. But they have that confidence that this is who they are, and you either take them or leave them. When you start to get self-confidence in yourself, those depressive episodes, they start to fade. They could be there, but they don't have that same intensity. That was a great question, though. All right. Now, some of the common causes and risk factors with depression, that comes up a lot. Genetics. We're learning more and more about the brain every year. Okay. We used to think that, how does this happen? There's genetics to this stuff. They can run in families. Doesn't mean that every family is going to have it, or every family history is actually about depression. You got to have a good therapist to kind of like sift through what's real, what's not real. But genetics is definitely a factor with a lot of things. And depression is one of them. Life events, okay, major life changes. How do people handle change? Okay, and stressful events may trigger depression. Divorce, death of a loved one, job loss, financial problems. There's a list that actually goes from like 1 to 50 of what's the most depressing things that can happen to you. Like number 1, I think, is a death of a child, something like that. A murder in front of you or a murder of a loved one. Like those are pretty depressive episodes. And, I'm sure for now, I think the 101,000 Americans, 100,001 now that have died of COVID in the last 3 months, that's a huge issue. You're going to see a lot of depression coming out of that. So those are things that happen from those kinds of issues, life events. 3-4 months ago, no one thought about this as ever like a factor. Now it's going to be talked about for the next 1,000 years. The great pandemic and pandemic event of 2020 that literally caused havoc around the world. So yeah, life events are huge. Okay, certain illnesses. Okay, anxiety, long-term pain, diabetes, and heart disease, more likely to develop depression. Depression, bipolar disorder go hand in hand, because that bipolar up and down, well, when you go up and you go down, it often leads when you're coming down to feeling very depressed. So be aware of that. Bipolar and disorder and depression are often go hand in hand. Some question popped in again. Question came in from Barry. Is a positive attitude self-delusional in situations that aren't objectively positive? How does one get past the sense that they're cherry picking their reality and being positive? Damn, these are great questions tonight. Great question. You know what I always say? Fake it till you make it. That's it. Get the confidence. Yeah, I've been in situations where I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to hang with these people. My attitude is I have confidence in myself. I've walked into homes, honestly, I'm going to read that question one time out loud. Is a positive attitude self-delusional in situations self-delusion in situations that aren't objectively positive? How does one get past the sense that they're cherry-picking their reality and being positive? What you're doing, Barry, is you're changing your brain. in how you think, that you start thinking to yourself, I can do this. I get this a lot in therapy where people say to me, how do you walk into homes? That's people like are always like intimidated by that concept. You just walk into a house. Like it's one thing to go into someone's office and say, I'm depressed, I'm suicidal, I have issues about, I can't come out that I'm homosexual. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's work it out. My little stream is playing in the background. I got my cute little clock. Tick, tick, tick. I got a little bear if you want to hug, a boo-boo bear. To me, that's artificial. I got to go into the home. I got to see for myself what's going on there. I got to do my recon. I got to check out the street. I got to check out the neighborhood. I got to check out the house. I got to check out the people living in the house. I want to know everything about that house. That's how I know you. So people say all the time, because vast majority of therapists will not do home visits. I actually like going to the home, but people get intimidated. They get intimidated. Oh, where do I sit? What do I dress? How do I talk? What if they offer me food? I'm like, bring it on, baby. Not a problem. Talk to people in the street, in their car. I'm coming where you're at. So what I'm saying is, at first, listen, I was intimidated too at times. Got over it because I had confidence in myself. How you doing? Bruce Muffs and LCSW. I'm here to do therapy. When you walk in there with confidence, people pick up on it. And the older I've gotten, as I've gotten more confident in myself at the age of 57, that starts to like permeates. People start to pick up on it. I wish I would have picked up on it like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the people around me to give me confidence. So I'm going to go back again, Barry. Find people that are confident. Talk to them. What makes them confident? Talk to people and say, what makes you confident? And steal from people, learn from people, get what makes them strong, and follow them. That's all. Great question, though. Okay. I remember, Leo Messi, I remember when music actually helped me with my depression. I also remember when I listened to sad music, and all of a sudden I felt depressed and sad. Why is that? And can that be a long-term solution? Man, the great question. Music is huge. It has huge impact on brain activity. So I'll tell you this. There are people, like music therapists, they will actually make music lists for you to get you ready for certain things. If you're going into combat, you want to have a certain mindset of music that you want to get you pumped. You're walking out to playing basketball. It's going to be a long game. You want to have things that are going to kind of get you going. You got a stressful meeting, soothing music. You want to go to bed. You want the right kind of music. Music is huge. And don't kid yourself. Neurons will be affected by what they hear. So, yeah, that is a huge factor in our life. I listen to music all day long at work. I'm behind the desk most of the day now. And I use music all day long, from rap to country western to Broadway musicals to music from the 80s, 90s, 2000. I listen to all kinds of music, and I can honestly say I need that music to get me revved up. So there are music therapists that will actually give you a music list to get you ready for certain situations. Huge factor. Great question again. Okay. You like the comment I left regarding a close friend who doesn't want to speak to me anymore. Okay. I'm not going to say the guy's name. The heart meant a lot. Any advice to cope with the pain of that situation? I can't find joy, sense of value. Barry, no problem. Here's the thing. Mourn. It's okay. Mourn. Nothing weird about it. Close friend, you lost a close friend. It hurts. It stings. Okay. Acknowledge it. Too often we don't acknowledge what's happened to us. I find out a lot when I do therapy. I'll say, well, have you grieved about the loss of your son? I couldn't. I had to be strong for my family. And I'm like, well, how do you feel now? I feel like an empty shell. I feel like a parent that I failed my son. I say, hey, man, it's okay to cry. I've had people cry on me and just sob. And all I did was do this. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry. It's all you say. When you're in that kind of trauma, it's what you're supposed to say anyways. All you say is, I'm sorry for your loss. Cry. I've had women break down in front of me. I had breast cancer. They destroyed my breasts. My breasts were beautiful. And now I feel like less of a woman. Started crying. Come on out. Don't hide. Let your emotions come out. I got cheated on. I thought he loved me. I thought she loved me. My kid cursed at me. My kid went to jail. I felt as a failure as a father. Let it go. Open up, talk to somebody, let it out. It's okay to feel that way. And after a certain period of time, put those memories in a box, put the ribbon around the box, put it away. Time to move on. Grieve, normal. Cry. Doesn't make you less of a man. I've had so many people, God, African Americans particularly, I can't cry, man. We're not allowed to cry. We're not allowed to cry. Well, they cried in front of me, cried in front of the white guy. They felt safe. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. About racism, about crazy, issues with police, law enforcement. Cry. It doesn't make you weak. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Doesn't make you a loser. It makes you a stronger person. But get to that point where you're done, move on. Okay. Barry, again, thank you. 10-4 are here to help. Appreciate it. Good luck with everything. All right, here we go. Another thing, too. This is a biggie. It's common sense, but I'm just going to throw it in there. Drug and alcohol abuse. Don't make a bad situation worse. I mean, almost every rapper that has, unfortunately, whether accidentally or deliberately committed suicide, the video was screaming out to me depression, screaming out to me major depression. And on top of that, they're taking, of course, drugs and alcohol. Well, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire already. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to explode. Don't do it. Don't make things worse. Get away from the drugs. Get away from the alcohol. Bad. That's when you really start going down the toilet. And sometimes you make decisions that you're going to regret the rest of your life, i.e. you kill yourself when you didn't really mean to, or you get into a car, you hit somebody, or you get into a fight you didn't really want to get into, but that drugs and alcohol are clouding your mind. So don't please do that. Okay. Some medications increase there was a question about that before. Yes, some medications increase the rate of depression. High blood pressure meds, steroids, and some cancer drugs can increase depression. No argument. You got to be careful. That's why you got to ask your doctor. Even if you're going for like an antipsychotic, mood stabilizer, there are other medications too, which I'm glad I brought up. Heart, you're taking things for, high BP stuff, steroids. Oh, that's bad. Cancer drugs. There are side effects. So ask questions, and learn about your body. Understand what you can and can't do to it and what the side effects are. Okay. Another question. Thanks for your response. Sometimes I do feel like I can't cry, but it's almost more physical, like my body's trying to cry. Can only make crying noises, but I can cry. Might just be cried out. Okay. Double question. You know what? Even if you take a walk and you get misty-eyed, that's enough. You don't have to have like a full sob, three handkerchief kind of thing, blowing your nose 50 times. You're emotional. Let it out. You're sad. It's emotional. Give yourself a weekend to grieve. And then, like I said, take those memories, because too many people leave those bad memories around in their coconut. They get into trouble. Put the memories in the box, tie it up, put it away. That's it. But believe me, it's okay. You don't have to have a full sob or cry me a river, but let it out. Let it out. Let it out. It's okay to grieve. All right. I can't cry about my issues, but movies where other people can get me. You know what? We're all triggered by various things. There's a people say like he cries at Hallmark commercials. And there's a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was like weeping over something happened in a Hallmark commercial. Maybe you can't, but maybe what else sets you off is a movie because there's an emotional situation where people can get to you. Absolutely. Hurtful comment or something that's said to you. Oh, it was my best friend. It was my mother. It was a coworker. I'm devastated. I'm in shock. Okay, everyone is different. Everyone's going to have different situations. Figure out what your triggers are and figure out what you need to do to get past those so it's not affecting you the way it's affecting you. But these are all good questions and all valid points. Sometimes you can cry, but sometimes a situation like a movie where a coworker or a family member, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you get together, cutting remark. Have you put on weight? Are you pregnant? What are you doing with your life? My son's so successful. How much money do you make? Families can really draw out the worst in you. So you got to think, like, before I go to this family function, what am I going to turn into? How am I going to handle myself And those inevitable idiotic questions instead of people who are thoughtless and care less about your feelings. Think about the person making the comment, and all of a sudden it becomes like, you know what? That person is a jerk. So why am I getting myself upset about it? If they really cared about me, they wouldn't say the comment to begin with. That's my point. Be around people that make you feel good about yourself. You put on the weight, let's take a walk after Thanksgiving, after turkey time, halftime. Let's do something positive. Positive people are looking out for you. Negative people are not your friends to begin with. Run from them. Okay, what do you do? Another question came up. What do you do when something triggers you that you can't stop or not have the guts to do it? Okay, retreat. Get out of the system. Get out of the situation. Walk away. You know, you got humiliated. You got embarrassed. Okay, lick your wounds. Figure it out and go back. But handle it in a better way this time. We all have those situations. Trust me. I've been humiliated in public. It was devastating. I felt, let me show, oh, can I show my hand? Oh, here we are. I felt about 2 inches tall, and I'm 5'10". I was so embarrassed what people said to me, humiliated. You know what I realized I had to do? Get away. Walk away. Retreat, think about it, and go from there. That's all. You don't have to sit there and be the butt of a joke. You don't have to sit there and be humiliated. If you're being humiliated, again, it's not the environment you should be in the first place. If people are so happy to make fun of you and ridicule you, those aren't your friends. Get out of the situation, get your composure, go back when you feel more comfortable and confident, and move on. They're not your people. Another question came in there too. Oh, what do you do when something triggers you? Oh, sorry. Like, subscribe, and share to help others who need this man's advice. Thank you. Hey, man, thank you. Great comment. Thank you so much, Leo. Very, very nice of you. What do you do when something triggers you that you can't stop or not have the guts to do it? So part is in the past and you need to go on with life, basically. Here's the thing, another third question. What happens when you get in the same situation over and over again? Okay, I'm going to start off with the first question. What do you do when something triggers you that you can't stop and not have the guts to do it? Okay, stop. What are the triggers? What's going to make you frustrated? It's when I finally realized my dad had no control over me, that he had no power over me, that he lived in a completely different perspective than I did, that all of his quote-unquote power over me was like snow melting. It was all over. I had a different way of looking at life than he did. I had some friends of mine that I thought were my friends. They weren't my friends. I moved on from them. They weren't my friends. That's my point. So if you're in that situation when something triggers you that you can't stop or not have the guts to do it, it's not about having the guts. What is the trigger? Why are you getting triggered from it? I always say to people, go back and analyze. Like football players look at film. They look at tendencies. He moves his left leg. He wiggles his fingers. He tends to look this way when he's going to the other side to throw me off. What are the triggers? And go from there. So part of the past, and you need to go on with life, basically. So past is the past. The past is the past only if you let it be the past. I always look at it this way with the past. You look at your past. Okay, what did you learn from it? What's your present, and where do you go with your future? We all have a past that sometimes we've done things that we're ashamed of, embarrassed about, humiliated. Believe me, I'm a first-class screw. I did a lot of dumb things growing up. But I had to realize that was my past. I didn't know any better. What are these live streams about? Seriously. Yeah, we want to monetize it. We want to ask you guys to pay for it. We want to go global. I don't want you to be me. I don't want you to be, in a sense, wasting years of your life when you could be so much more successful. That's what these live streams are all about, is to give you the confidence to see things and really understand yourself better. I wish I could go back in time 40 years, I'll be 17 years old, perfect age. If I had the confidence that I had now, my life would have been fantastically different. I truly believe that. I want all of you listeners to get that same confidence from me now. Instead of hitting the wall at 80, hit it at 30. We're not even have to hit it at all. Swerve and grow up to be healthy and happy much earlier. You don't have to learn things the hard way. Second question. Okay, triggers. So, and then what happens when you get in the same situation over and over again? Why? Why? Einstein says The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If I can't change somebody, if I can't, see growth or see someone being positive, that person is not for me. I got to get away. If I'm doing the same thing over and over again and things are not changing, then I'm doing something wrong. What do I have to do differently? And so much in my life, I've had to learn to adapt, to be different, to think, to grow, to change. Even this channel is a great example. All these videos that we've made, we've had to come up with so many different perspectives, different alternatives. And you know what? You do it because you understand that change is growth, change is power, change is success. We've had to be different. We had to adapt. So I'm saying to you guys, the same way of thinking is if you're doing the same thing like Groundhog Day, the Bill Murray movie, you're doing the same thing over and over again. Why? Look at it objectively, sit back, think about it in your mind, make a different set of plans, and go forward. If you know that July 4th is going to be a miserable time, family's going to get together, they're going to be making comments about you, you don't have to go. Where you could stay only an hour versus 6 hours. Where you have a problem with drinking and you could be around a situation with a lot of alcohol. I don't need to go to that. Like, think, what can I do to be productive in the right way to help myself? Okay, what happens when you get in the same situation over and over again? Like I said, I want you to think differently. I want you to think, what can I do differently than what I've done the last 15 times? What do you think athletes do when those little iPads stay in the dugout? They're looking at tendencies. I threw the guy the curveball the last 10 times. 7 of those 10 times he hit it off the wall. Not a good conclusion. Why am I throwing this guy? He eats curveballs for a living. Let me throw him a fastball. Let me throw him a slider. Let me throw him a changeup. Basketball, football, NASCAR, any sport, wrestling. He's put me on my back 6 matches in a row. What am I learning from this? What am I got to do differently? I got to stop thinking that way. Good example is chess. There's so many openings because people learn you open this way, well, I'm going to counter. Well, you open differently. You force that person to counter. Don't be predictable. Be divergent. Think of different ideas and different opportunities. Okay. What do you do when the memory is very deep and strong and comes back while still being different, but something inside you keeps getting back? Okay. Therapy. I've had that happen to me. I've had people go particularly with things like OCD, obsessive compulsive. They can't let go of the memory. And what you do is there's various types of therapy that can be used. I like reality therapy for me, but there's all kinds, and there's a lot of different therapies out there. Find the one that works for you with the person you're working with. But I go back to the essence of the memory. Why is it still painful? I've had people say to me, stuff in high school happened to them. They got into a fist fight. They got knocked out. 30 years later, they can't let it go. Someone made a cutting remark to them, about their weight, what they were dressed, how they looked. It was racist. It was anti-Semitic. Can't let it go. It digs. There's a slight about this, about your income, how you look, where you live. Look at that memory. Break it down again. Why is it so painful? Because if a memory is that deep and that strong, there's something there that's making you feel insecure about you. It's generally about insecurity. I felt insecure. I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. Why? In my therapy session, I do that a lot. I'm always going this. I'm always going like, why? My agent could remember this. I used to say a lot of times, why? Why do you feel this way? I was once 15. You're not 15 now. I know. I was once 15. I had those same kind of feelings. Why are you still stuck like that? I was once 21. Okay, why? I remember being your age. I didn't think that way, but why? And then stuff comes out. I was molested. I was physically abused. I was verbally abused. Usually it's about self-esteem. Because when you have positive self-esteem, you learn to let those negative memories go fairly quickly. Like a cornerback once said, if you don't expect to get burned on a touchdown pass, then don't play cornerback. Like, you're just not going to make it because you're going to have to learn there's going to be failure days and you better accept it. So learn that. Okay, a couple questions popped up. Hello, I would like to thank you for the materials provided for us. Not a problem. It's what they're here for. 2K, that was Amanda's. 2K, again, much appreciated. Another comment. I was very paranoid when I was depressed. I'm not going to say certain people's names because some of the comments are pretty, personal. When I was depressed, even though I knew that my friends were good and trustworthy, I partly believed they were out to trick me, and it made me avoid them. Okay, great question. When you start having negative thoughts, that's depression. When you're feeling blah, you don't feel good about yourself. When you start to believe you add something to the relationship, you don't have to feel negative. This guy's saying something that's very intelligent. He's saying, I had good friends, and guess what? You know what? I still didn't believe it. They're out to trick me, made me avoid them. You feel that way when you don't feel good about yourself. When you start to have that confidence about yourself, you know you add something to the situation and to the group setting. Believe me, there were times I felt insecure around people. They were richer than me, nicer cars than me. They came from looked on the outside then as better families than me. They had cool looking parents. They lived in nice neighborhoods. None of that for me. And I was insecure. I didn't have the right sneakers. Trust me, in every situation growing up, there's a pecking order. And I didn't really feel that I fit. I didn't really feel that I fit in. It was only when I got more confidence in myself that I felt I could fit in anywhere. You know what? I bring something to the table. You don't like who I am? Then I'm not for you. Move on. So go back to why you feel that insecurity. Another great question. How can you help yourself be less affected by the things that you know aren't true but affect you anyway? Break it down. Break it down. Why do you care what that person says about you? I did a ton of work with teenage girls, and people are like, well, you look like the last guy to work with a teenage girl, but it was always about massive amounts of insecurity. I'm not pretty. My hair is ugly. I don't look good in the bathing suit. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't look my looks. I feel I'm not attractive enough. I'm fat. I'm too skinny. Blah 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 blah. My body's out of proportion. It was about insecurity. Only when you felt good about yourself, body image for young people. We did a video about that about a year ago. Middle school kids were talking about body image. I couldn't believe it till I heard it from their mouths. But the body image is so pervasive that particularly women get nailed with that. You feel like, oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Forget about what people think about you. Learn to like yourself. That's it. Okay. Thank you. No problem. If you haven't already answered this, how do you go about building self-esteem? There's always been a block for me there. Not a problem. It's a great question. We know how self-esteem, it's like going to a field. You got to make a hole. You got to first dig the hole. You're going to build a wall. You got to put the first block down. You want to lose weight. First thing you got to do is stop shoving food into your mouth and exercising. Get outside. Start walking. Walking around the block. If you're overweight, you're going to make that field, open up that field. That's all normal. If you want to get self-esteem, be around people that have high self-esteem. Why do they have high self-esteem? Here's something you got to be aware of also as a therapist. A lot of times people that have what they call artificial self-esteem, they're narcissists and they love themselves. They don't love you. And those people are really, really insecure inside. So you got to be careful when you find out someone you want to follow. Be careful because sometimes the people that you want to follow have clay feet. So sometimes people are like, oh, I got it together. I'm amazing. It's not really because they are. They think they are, but they're narcissistic. So you got to be careful who you're going to be following. Find someone that truly is comfortable with themselves. And that's really, really critical. That's why people I hear that's like, well, look at her hair. Look, he has tattoos. I wear a yarmulke. Man, I don't care. That's who you are. It's what you are. I don't care about that stuff. People that kind of go along with that kind of stuff have high self-esteem. So you want to be careful who you want to follow, but be careful who you follow. Take the time to reflect and learn to grow. Okay. Barry, again, you talked about distancing from negative people for the sake of one's mental health. Yes. How then do these negative people find positive influences to right themselves? Are there people beyond help? Yeah. You're not going to save everybody. Certain people are always going to feel insecure about themselves. And I've learned that from children. Given doses of insecurity, what turns to happen? You know what will tend to happen? Turn to become an insecure adult. I can't stress that enough. So much I've learned now, I realize, goes from childhood. When you have a positive childhood of a supportive parent, hear me, dads, hear me, dads, hear me, dads, and you're involved, your kids grow. I had my son's teammates, my son, and he was, you know, this year, senior, so he got on his back all season. So you're going to look at a lot of the third round. You got a point. I wasn't expecting gold medals or regionals. That's a fantasy. That's stupid. You're going to do it. That ref sucked. You got pinned, but you shouldn't have gotten pinned. He's anti-Semitic. He hates you. Well, that's kind of stupid. I just said you're sticking with it. You're doing it. You're cutting the weight. You're going into practice. That's all I care about. Stick it out. Don't give up. That's all I care about. You made an effort. You showed up. Like, practice, try and get better. But that's in anything. Kid practice, playing music the first time. Of course he's going to stink. Your ears are going to start to bleed. Guy's horrible. Practice. Go to a recital. Go with your kid. Listen to the same stupid song over and over again that he's playing horribly on the piano. But give him that confidence. That's how it's done. So many times I've heard people say this. I am what I am today, because someone had confidence in me. It changed my whole life. There's a story of Stan Lee. Now he passed away, the comic book guy. He said as a kid, he would draw, a little kid in the Depression, just happened to be the 30s. And his mother would take the picture and say, "This is amazing. Wow, what a great picture." She didn't know what the heck it was. He says, "I thought it was a banana. It might have been a car." But she didn't care. She just said, "It looks amazing. It's going on the refrigerator." He said he loved it. It made him feel so good about himself that whatever he drew, which at that time was probably pretty pathetic, there was no Hulk or Iron Man or Fantastic Four, but he got the confidence. That's in anything. Give people confidence. That's what I try and do at work and in therapy, and that's what really separates an average therapist from a great one. They bolster your ego. Okay, so that's what I want to tell you. That are people beyond help? Yeah, unfortunately, some people get such negativity growing up that their whole life is fearful. Their whole life, they're scared. It's terrible, but I've seen that. They got destroyed when they needed the most help. So yes, there are people beyond help. I never believe that I can cure everyone, or I'm God's gift to therapy. I'm the greatest therapist of all time. I'm the Muhammad Ali of therapy. I don't buy that. There's certain people I cannot help because of what they've experienced in childhood. And generally it's like horrible sex abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, where they got destroyed. That really is the biggest factor to me. Sexual abuse, man, that is like a cancer. Once you get sexually abused, yeah, you can try and cope and get better, but man, it is hard. You just look at yourself in such a negative way. For women and for guys, sex abuse, physical abuse is terrible too, and so is verbal. They're all dreadful. But to me, number one with a rocket is sexual abuse. You just do not feel good about yourself for a lifetime. I mean, you go to therapy, you take pills, you go to self-defense classes, I hear you. But that shrapnel you're picking out of your body for the rest of your life, horrible. Okay, so I hope that answers some people's questions and some thoughts. Great question, Barry. There are some people that I can't help. As good as I am, as great as I am, I can't. What's probably going to happen in the next 50 years is we're going to actually be able to go into people's brains and cauterize those negative emotions using lasers. It's experimental right now. They use it mostly for stroke victims who lose, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say you play golf, you're 73, you have a stroke, so normally you shoot like an 80. Okay, you know how to play the game by now, but your hand starts to do this. So, of course, the clubs are not going to be able to do the job that they were doing, say, 6 months ago. What they do is they actually cauterize the parts of the brain that are affecting the muscle control, and they actually have people write their name during the surgery. So they'll write like Bruce at the beginning of the surgery, really wavy all over the place. And after, like halfway through the surgery, when they're done with the, making the cauterization, by the end of the surgery, they'll say, "Write your name again, Bruce." It's crisp. And people go back to playing golf where they used to, and they cry. And their depression is lifted because they're doing something that they can enjoy for 10 more years because their muscles are back. We're learning how to do that with muscles, for the muscles, but the part of the brain that controls muscle memory, probably in the next 50 years, we'll be able to do that with depression, schizophrenia. be a massive change in how we look at mental health, but that's way off in the future. But there are solutions on the horizon. I read about this in Smithsonian Magazine. Oh, and by the way, I want to just throw a shout out. People, when we answer comments, I sometimes will tell people about reading books. I've been really impressed that people have said to me that they got a book because I recommended. And that's something we're going to do when we do the leadership piece and the mentorship piece. I want you to read. Reading is power, so thank you. Okay. I want to get a few more things, and we're going to call it a night here on that. Depression, just going over this, for depression in women. All right, why do women get depression? What are some factors for a woman? And here they are. There's the biological factors, cultural expectations, differences in experiences. So men and women's depression is not going to be the same. People think, oh, it's the same thing. Wrong. Not true. Women's depression and men's depression are two different things. Okay, so there's also issues with marital problems, relationship with parents, here we go again, and lack of social support are more likely to make women depressed than it's going to affect men. Okay, fine. And there was a study in the Journal of Affective Disorders. Women's symptoms of depression are different. They're more likely to have panic and anxiety disorders. So with women, I noticed this a lot myself. It's not just the depression you're treating, it's the anxiety and the panic. I'm depressed, but I'm so worried, and I can't stop thinking about this. And I got to get out of bed. I have a dinner party Friday night. 12 people coming to my house. I got to get done. I'll sleep tonight. I'll get done in 3 days. Now it's 2 days. My anxiety is shooting through the roof. I'm so panicked. I'm going to blow the whole thing up, and everyone's counting on me. That's what I see a lot with women. It's not just depression you're dealing with, but the anxiety and the panic attacks as well. Okay, now there's another thing too. Women, of course, giving birth. 1 out of 7 women have a thing called postpartum depression. When they give birth to a baby and there's depressive factors. Most of the time, we can treat that fairly quickly with some medication, some therapy, and the positiveness towards the baby comes back fairly quickly. But they've had people say, like, 1 out of 7, it's not a small number, have negative feelings about the child. There's depression issues. They don't feel that bond, feel that touch. They kind of reject the baby. But you have to help them. Just get that confidence back. The baby loves you. Look, it smiles at you. Look, it wants to breastfeed. But it does happen. Okay. A couple of comments came in. CS, man, I can't thank you enough. Have a good day, Bruce. Been a great stream as usual. Stay safe. And once again, thank you. My pleasure, CS. Thank you. You're a huge fan, huge supporter. I can't thank you enough. Positivity is for rubes. Negativity is for the disabled. Basic Tao. Yeah. Yeah. Positivity is for rubes. Negativity is for the deluded. Basic Tao. Yeah. Understandable. You want to think about that. Where is my negativity coming from? So thank you for saying that, Adam. Okay, another comment. Max, thanks, Bruce. Adam, I guess tricking yourself is a key to depression, so positivity makes sense. I see what you're saying. I look at it this way. You deserve to be happy. So if you have to, work on yourself to feel happy, you're going to feel happier. We all have to work on things. I got to work on losing weight. I got to work on being a better husband. Yeah. So what do I got to do to be a better husband, for instance? My wife likes flowers. If I stop and go to a supermarket when I get something to eat and I bring home flowers, oh, he loves me. It's common sense. So my marriage will be a lot better when my wife is telling my mother-in-law, he got me flowers and he actually got the kind that I liked, So that's where you got to think about teaching yourself to make things happy. If I say to a coworker, great job, they may have the motivation to do things on a better level. Now I got a positive worker versus an angry worker. So yeah, you got to trick yourself. And we do that with a lot of things to get along, to make things work, to make things happy. You got to think about what do I got to do to be positive, to teach yourself to be positive, because that's a skill. It's like building a muscle. Positivity, being positive is a skill. I truly believe that. Thank you, Bruce. Hope you're doing well. Hanging in there. Vegas is slowly opening. Casinos are going to be opening up, I think, this weekend. We're early next week. Hey, wish the best. We need them open. People might back to hanging out and loving Vegas, and I'm all for it. We hope it happens real soon and everyone is safe. Adam, another question. Isn't that more like making things into good hobbies? Adam, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, it's like brushing your teeth. Think about it. You brush your teeth. You brush your teeth twice a day, you're not going to have cavities. And you do that to your kids. Every parent does that with his children. Okay, open your mouth. Here we go. Brush your teeth at a time. You're teaching good habits. That's what you do. I used to drink 3 big gulps a day, basically 10 to 12 cans of Dr. Pepper a day. I woke up one day, I'm online. I'm like, this is bad. I'm going to have problems from this. Stop drinking soda. Now I drink maybe 10 cans a year. I stop drinking soda. I realized that's a bad habit. Now I drink so much more water, vitamin water, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, absolutely. Great comment. And you want to make things into good habits. You put money aside at 20, because we're coming to the end of this, I realize, but you do like this. I teach my kids, if you put money away, whether it's stock market, whatever it might be, blah, 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 putting money away, you do it now. What you have over me is you got much more lifespan for that money to grow. I'm at an age I can put money in, but I got to put in so much more when you have to put in so much less to reach my level. So that's true, Adam. You want to get good hobbies that follow and good habits that follow you the rest of your life. That's it. Total sense. Good point. Thanks again. Yeah, thank you. And Adam had some really, really good questions there and some really good tips. Let me say something also. What I love about these live streams, and for those of you that are going to be paying for them and getting the inside scoop, so to speak, because we're just going to expand the live stream. We're now at like a minute 12 here. I could go all night. I could do 2 hours. And if I get hundreds of comments, I ain't leaving till I answer every one of your comments. If it's 2 hours, 3 hours, I'm ready to rock. One of my favorite musicians, Bruce Springsteen, would do 3-hour concerts, 3.5-hour concerts, because he said, my fans are coming to see me. They're going to get their money's worth. I'm out there to perform. I'm a performer. That's how I see myself. I'm not like a wallflower social worker. I come in your face, very direct. I'm very honest. I'm brutally honest. That's why I like reality therapy. That works for me. There's the EMDR, the CBT. For me, my bread and butter, my AK has always been the reality therapy. Tell you the truth. So, yeah, 115. Hey, man, let's do 215. We'll do 2-parter. I didn't get the questions the first time. We'll save them. We'll bang them out again. You guys are getting exclusive of me. I want to give to you me. You can take that home with you. Okay, Adam. Part of savings is austerity. Sometimes, too, that's like a gambler archetype instead of an artisan. Absolutely. You just want to find out what works for you, what works for you. Austerity. Yeah, exactly. All of these things go into it. What you do now will have huge impact later on. Now that I'm old enough to understand that, I see that now with my health, with my physical health, my mental health, my financial health, my relationship health. What you put into it is what you tend to get out of it. I see that now as I've gotten older. Unfortunately, as a kid, you don't always realize these things. Okay. Max said a nice thing here too. That's beautiful, Bruce. I think you model positivity for many on these streams. That's the whole point. Thank you for that comment, because so many people are so unhappy and so miserable throughout the day. I try and look at it from a judo perspective. You're going to come at me. I'm going to use your force against you. I'm going to take your negativity. I'm going to make it positive. Now, can I fix everybody? No. There are a lot of people that are just too damaged. You can't fix everyone. People will tell you that in therapy. I never had a patient that didn't make it. Wrong. They're lying to you. I've been to plenty of funerals, unfortunately. I've been plenty of times that people got admitted to psychiatric hospitals or did some horrible things, were involved in serious crime. And my heart and soul into it. I always bring my A game to it. Things happen. You can't save everybody. You can't fix everybody. But understand that perspective. You try. You don't give up. I want people to walk down that street and feel good about themselves, because when you feel good about yourselves, guess what? You tend not to do something that are self-destructive to you. Okay. We're almost coming to the end. Anyone got those last questions? Throw them down. Throw them down. We are here to listen. Okay. Before I go, I want to just throw down a little bit about men's depression in men. There was a study in the American Journal of Psychiatry. Why are men more likely to have depression than women? Here, all of the bad ones: drug abuse, sexual abuse, although I believe women get nailed, unfortunately, with that horrible thing as well, way more than people want to talk about. Prior history of depression, major stressful life events. So two of them are almost preventable: drug abuse and childhood sexual abuse, prior history of depression, and major stressful life events. That's what men suffer from. Okay, so you want to be careful about those things. So, and also for guys, another point too, which is a big factor, is as a guy, I mean, I get it. Women work today. My wife works. People work. It's a different world than it was when I was even growing up, even though that world was already changing. Women now work and they have to. Sometimes women are becoming the breadwinners. It's a changing whole societal way of looking at relationships and marriages and families. It's fine. But for a guy, I could tell you this from my own personal experience. If I lost my job, I'd be crushed. I would be dealing with serious depression. I have to work. That defines me. Not that I'm like the most amazing social worker that ever lived, or I'm the greatest therapist. That's not really the point. I have to bring home a paycheck. If I didn't bring home a paycheck, I would be crushed. I would have a hard time facing my family. Question from Adam. So many things take the positive without negative sometimes. It's hard to take positively seriously. Is it better to not take it more seriously? Another great question. And I'm going to close with these three questions because we're getting to the point of closing it. I want to say Adam's question one more time. So many things take the positive without the negative. Sometimes it's hard to take positivity seriously. Is it better to not take it more seriously? I'm going to say it like this. Take it to the point that it works for you. I look at it this way, that you want to look at yourself. People take the positive and negative. There's always a side. There's always going to be, nothing is free. There's always going to be a catch to anything, okay? More seriously. Take it seriously. Being positive is a great thing to have. I would say take it as possibly and can only benefit you. I'm definitely going to go in that direction. I have a last question from Max. Any advice for acute stress, anxiety, hands tingling, nervous feeling, restless? I try deep breathing and sometimes it doesn't help. Okay, number one answer to all those kinds of questions, anxiety and stress, work out. The positive effects of working out continue to just blow people away. Start working out. Do something exercise-wise. Walking, jogging, weightlifting, Tai Chi, meditation, to work on yourself with take the deep breathing to a different level with Tai Chi or meditation. But exercise is huge. And also, I've learned this the hard way too. Look at your diet. What are you eating? A lot of sugars, a lot of salts, a lot of processed foods. I'm learning, not just from my agent, but just in general, what you put into your body has huge effects on how your mind's going to operate. So those two things, exercise and what you're putting into your stomach. By the way, Bruce, it's a selfish to expect one to help you with your problems after helping them. Okay, great question. Here's my point. I look at it this way. I call it the favor bank. I'm always looking to make more deposits than withdrawals. I look to help people, and I don't care about getting anything back. I don't care. I actually taught my kids, I was shocked my kids actually listened to me on something. And I taught them, I said, just give people gifts. If you don't get anything back, who cares? Always give to other people and expect nothing in return. When you don't worry about getting anything in return, you never worry to begin with. So always give, always give. Help people out, but expect nothing in return. You'll never be disappointed. Always, I call it the favor bank, because you'd be surprised 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they remember you and they do something right for you. Don't worry about the short-term gain. Look at the long-term gain, like a stock dividend, like a stock that's going to grow. Don't worry about the first year. Worry about year 10. Hope that helps. Okay. Any tips for dealing with isolation during Corona time? Yeah. Schedule. Have a schedule. Have a schedule. Don't do the sleepy thing all day. Don't walk around the house all day in your underwear. Wear a t-shirt and shorts. If you get dressed up for work, get dressed up for work. Exercise. Schedule. Normal sleep patterns. Exercise. Don't just blob. Do things that you're not going to, keep to that schedule. Whether getting a treadmill, walking around your block, walking in the house, doing something in your backyard, lift weights. But a schedule, normal sleep patterns, and exercise. Adam again, hey man, do squats. He gave an example. Hey, thank you so much. Most muscle quickest done for neurotransmitter replenishment. Thank you, Adam. He just gave an advice. Get a pair of weights, get a set of weights. You can do tons of things with that. I'll say this about exercise, and I'm not saying look at my shape, but I will say this. You do 3 exercises, covers pretty much everything. Push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. And you could do those literally from hanging from a pole in your living room, bedroom. Sit-ups can be done anywhere, and push-ups as well. You do those 3 things, you will find yourself in very, very, very good shape. Everything else is great too, but those 3 are powerhouses, and they can be done in isolation. Okay, do squats. Okay, it is not selfish. People need one another to survive. You will need a shoulder to lean on, and you will be there for others. Absolutely. Always man is not an island. You got to find other people to support you. I'm not into that lone survivor crap where I don't get along with people. I'm an island guy. Leave me alone. People want to be around people. I've learned that a million times over. Great comment. Great point. Thanks, Max. I appreciate the reply. Yes. Always go out there. You want people to help you with your problems after helping them. Do what you got to do. Don't worry about it. But people need people. Great point. And thank you, Max, for saying that. Yes. People need one another. And you will need a shoulder to lean on, and you will be there for others. People get it. So I want to clarify that comment, and we'll call it a night. Be there for others. Be supportive. Don't worry. Either they'll be there for you when you need them, or they won't be. But let it go. Just be a good person. Like, don't expect. Your true friends will be there for you, but be open with everybody. That's all. Be the person you should be. Don't worry about getting kind of accolades for that. Well, like, hey, I owe you. Don't worry about that. If it'll come, but your real friends will be there for you. And I'll close with this. A buddy of mine lost his mom over the weekend, and he called me, and I was close to family growing up. And what I did was I called him back, and I'm going to call him back like every week now for the next year. How you doing? How you doing? You know why? When I had a tragedy in my life, he showed up. This guy was in a business meeting in a different city. He heard from the same woman, his mother, who I can never thank enough for what she did for me. She said to her son, Brucey needs you. Get going. In the meeting, he literally stood up and said, one of my best friends just lost someone very close to him, and I got to be there. I need a flight. And they got him a flight from the office. They said, we'll drive you. Just go. He flew into Vegas, went to it. This is before Uber. He got a cab and said, here's $100. Get me here as soon as you can and keep the meter running. He came in for 10 minutes, and then he just left. What are you going to say to that? That's a real friend. And I'm going to call this guy for the next 5-10 years. How you doing, man? How you doing, man? How you doing, man? How you doing, man? And when I get a chance to get the time to go out to where he lives, I'm going out there and talk about his mom and what she meant to me. So, yeah. Last couple of questions. Max, no problem. I'm usually the type not to go to friends for help. But when I had trauma recently, it almost like I did without thinking, reached out to everyone I knew. Smart move, Max. Good move. Reach out. Yeah, I'm hurting. Let people know. What kills me when I did some of these videos, particularly with Mac Miller, no one reached out to him. You reached out to him. Hey, I'm hurting. You didn't have anyone to reach out to. So many of them are the other ones. But yeah, reach out. Smart. Don't isolate. Don't be alone. Great comment, Max. Thank you. And thank you, by the way. Loved your video on breaking down. Yeah, breaking down GP. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for the live stream, Sky. Max, still presently suffering, but not suffering alone. Thank you, Max, for saying that. Beautiful story, Bruce. Thank you, man. I tell you, I've had stories like that where the cream rises to the top. I'll put it to you that way, Max. Where people that are really there for you, they're there for you. And that's when you really know when you really have support. And sorry to hear about that, Max. I truly wish you nothing but the best, my man. I thank you again. Hey, thank you for saying that. That's what we're looking for. And in last comment, thanks again, Bruce. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Again, I'm just going to close with this last 30-second commercial. This is going to come to an end, guys. I love doing them. We got to monetize it. Just reality check. It's going to be coming down these last couple. Then when it go live, and it's going to be a fee. It's not going to be excessive, but that's where we're going with this. We're still going to make the music videos. That's not going to stop. But I want to reach out and really reach out. I want to do 20,000 people. And I want to do topic after topic after topic. This is showing me there is a market for this. We want to be the market. We want to be the Warby Parker. Cut out the middleman. Cut out the insurances. Cut out all the regs. You can do this. You can't do that. I want to do my own thing. Direct to you, the consumer. We want to grow this globally. That's where we want to go. We want you all to join. I want you all to get better. I want you guys to learn to support each other here and outside of here, and we grow as a crew. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Thanks again, Bruce. Not a problem. Listen, thank you for the discussion. Thank you, guys. We're about to close it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We may just do part 3 again because there's so much more to talk about with depression. But this is part 2. Thank you for watching. Much appreciation.